This is the Housing Adaptation Grant for People with a Disability Bill 2021. Call on Deputies Pauline Tully and Patricia Ryan to move for leave to introduce. They move.
I move that leave be granted to introduce a bill entitled An Act to make provision for ease of access to a housing adaptation grant for people with a disability for those applicants qualifying for same and provide for related matters. The purpose of this bill is to ensure that local authorities administering the Housing Adaptation Grant for people with a disability shall, as far as is practical, process applications for the grant within a period of not more than 4 weeks from the date of receipt of the application. Now, by application I mean the date on which an application form, plus all relevant documentation, is received by the local authority, which would include an occupational therapist report recommending the works, the estimates of cost from certified contractors in conjunction with required medical documentation, and if necessary, which will depend on the nature of the proposed work, an architect or engineer's report should also be submitted. All information should be gathered by the applicant and submitted together so that it can be checked and approved within the shortest possible time, and I'm proposing that that time should be a period of 4 weeks. Now, the reason I'm bringing this bill forward is that I've been made aware that many disabled people and older people require adaptations made to their home as a result of an accident or an illness, and often are unable to live in their own homes until the required works are carried out. Now, regularly this requires an extended stay in hospital or having to relocate to a nursing home for a period of time, which can be costly on the person themselves and their families, but also costs the state money, as the additional stay in hospital adds an extra cost to the state, but also takes up hospital beds that other people are waiting on. 200,000 bed days were lost in 2019 due to delayed discharge, and while all of them may not have been due to unsuitable accommodation, some certainly were. I know many people who have made an application for this grant and have been forced to wait months for approval, and I'm aware of one woman who's unable to use the bath in her house as a result of knee problems and is required to wash herself at a sink. Another lady is petrified of getting into the bath as she has an issue with balance and her eyesight, and has already fallen and hit her head getting out of the bath previously, and therefore requires a level access shower, which would just be life-changing for her, and she again has been waiting months for approval. I mean, the COVID pandemic has undoubtedly increased waiting times, and again this is unacceptable because it's having an unfair and disproportionate impact on older people and disabled people and needs to be addressed urgently. Many people are struggling on a day-to-day basis, and something like a stair lift or a level access shower could make such a difference. So, as an aside to the bill, I'm aware that the lack of contractors and the additional cost of construction material is having an additional and adverse impact on this grant, and I'm hoping Budget 22 will address this and see the grant increase to meet these additional costs.
Thank you, Councillor Corla. I'd like to thank my colleague Dr Tully for her assistance with this bill. This is a timely bill, and we have had a recent discussion about response times from county councils to various representations from elected members. Indeed, there is currently a 10 to 12 week waiting period just to get on the housing list in Kildare. And let me be clear, I don't blame the staff or the officials. They are being let down by government too. Yesterday at the monthly meeting of Kildare County Council, a number of councillors received unfavourable reports from officials in response to their motions. And it wasn't that the officials disagreed with the motions themselves. Their answers were due to a lack of resources and in particular staff. We need to invest in local government if we are to have true local democracy. It is just a form of local administration we have at the moment rather than local government. As the Sinn Féin spokesperson for older people, I have been contacted by many people from all over the country who have experienced delays for many months in receiving a reply to their application. Recently, I helped to bring to a successful conclusion 2 applications which were ongoing for over 2 years. These kind of delays are absolutely unacceptable. At yesterday's council meeting in Kildare, there was a motion brought forward by Councillor Nuala Killeen looking for an increased budget for housing adaptation grants. And I will quote from the report from the Director of the Housing and Finance, who told the meeting the additional costs associated with this request would take €200,000 from other areas of expenditure. Without additional funding from central government, it is not expected that Kildare County Council can achieve this without cutting frontline services. The reality is that people are waiting far too long with priority 2 and 3 applicants not even receiving a reply. In some cases, after months of waiting, they deserve a better quality of life, and this bill is the first step to achieving that. Lord Margaret.